Welcome back to Movies on the Brain, your ultimate destination for captivating movie reviews and deep dives into cinematic wonders. I'm Jason, and today we're jumping into the thrilling, mind-bending world of Source Code. Directed by Duncan Jones and starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, and Vera Farmiga, this sci-fi thriller takes us on a pulse-pounding journey through time and alternate realities. Today we'll be unraveling the twists and turns, exploring the intricate plot, and discussing the profound implications of this high-stakes mission. Warning, this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't experienced the film first, consider watching it fully to appreciate our discussion. Strap in as we delve into the mysteries of the source code right here on Movies on the Brain. Okay, let's check out how it did in theaters. Source Code opened in theaters on April 1st, 2011 in the US and April 20th, 2011 in France, and had a budget of $31.9 million. During its 15-week theatrical run, it earned $54.7 million domestically and $92.6 internationally, bringing in a grand total of $147.3 million worldwide. The US opening weekend saw Source Code earn $14.8 million and finishing number 2 in the box office, only behind Hop, which also happened to open that same weekend, and just ahead of Insidious, which also opened that same weekend. Final week in theater saw it earn $44,347, finishing number 47 in the box office while still being shown in 41 theaters. Now let's get into the plot. U.S. Army pilot Captain Coulter Stevens wakes up in a Metro commuter train going to Chicago. He is disoriented as his last memory was of flying a mission in Afghanistan. However, to the world around him, including his friend Christina Warren and his reflection in the train's windows and mirrors, he appears to be a different man, a schoolteacher named Sean Fentress. As he expresses his confusion to Christina, the train explodes while passing another train, killing everyone aboard. Stephen abruptly awakens in a dimly lit cockpit, communicating through a video screen. Air Force Captain Colleen Goodwin verifies Stephen's identity and tells him of his mission to find the train bomber before sending him back to the moment he awoke on the train. Believing he is being tested in a simulation, Stevens finds the bomb in a vent inside the lavatory, but is unable to identify the bomber. Still thinking he is in a simulation, Stevens leaves the bomb and goes back to the main cabin before the train explodes again. Stevens again reawakens in his capsule and after demanding to be briefed, learns that the train explosion actually happened and that it was merely the first attack of a suspected series. He is sent back yet again 8 minutes before the explosion to identify the bomber. This time he disembarks from the train with Christina to follow a suspect. This turns out to be a dead end. The train still explodes in a distance, and Stephen is killed by a passing train after falling onto the tracks while interrogating the suspect. The capsule power supply malfunctions as Stephen reawakens. He claims to have saved Christina, but Dr. Rutledge tells him that she was only saved inside the source code. Rutledge explains that the source code is an experimental machine that reconstructs past using the dead passengers' residual collective memories of 8 minutes before their deaths. Therefore, the only thing that matters is finding the bomber to prevent the upcoming second attack in Chicago. On the next run, Stevens learns that he was reported as killed in action 2 months earlier. He confronts Goodwin, who reveals that he is missing most of his body and is hooked up to neural sensors. The capsule and his healthy body are manifestations made by his mind to make sense of the environment. Stevens is angry by the forced imprisonment. Rutledge offers to terminate him after the mission, and Stevens eventually accepts. After numerous attempts, including being arrested by train security for trying to obtain a weapon, Stevens identifies the bomber through a fallen wallet as the nihilistic domestic terrorist Derek Frost. He memorizes Frost's license and vehicle registration plates and discovers a dirty bomb built inside a van owned by Frost. Christina follows him and Frost shoots them both dead. Outside the source code, Stevens relays his knowledge to Goodwin, which helps the police arrest Frost and prevents the second attack. He is congratulated for completing his mission. Rutledge secretly reneges his deal to let Stevens die, as he is still the only candidate able to enter the source code. Being more sympathetic to his plight, Goodwin sends Stevens back one last time and promises to disconnect his life support after 8 minutes. This time he sets a date with Christina, defuses the bomb, apprehends Frost, and reports him to the police. He calls his father under the guise of a fellow soldier and reconciles with him and sends Goodwin an email. For 8 minutes, Goodwin terminates Stevens' life support. As the world around him continues to progress beyond 8 minutes, Stevens confirms his suspicion that the source code is not merely a simulation, but rather a machine that allows him to create alternate timelines. He and Christina leave the train and go on a date, and in the same alternate reality, Goodwin receives Stevens' message. He tells her of the source code's true capability and asks her to help the alternate reality version of him. Now let's look at the cast and some of the other roles they've had. Got Jake Gyllenhaal as Captain Coulter Stevens. Other roles for Jake Gyllenhaal include Anthony Swofford in Jarhead, Billy Hope in Southpaw, and Danny Sharp in Ambulance. Michelle Monaghan as Christina Warren. Other roles for Michelle Monaghan include Maggie Swan in Fort Bliss, Carol Saunders in Patriots Day, and Detective Williams in Maxine. Vera Farmiga as Captain Colleen Goodwin. Other roles for Vera Farmiga include Eleanor Bishop in the TV show Hawkeye, Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring franchise, and Samantha Powell in The Judge. Jeffrey Wright as Dr. Rutledge. Other roles for Jeffrey Wright include William Black in Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, Papa Henry in The Good Dinosaur, and Jim Gordon in 2023's The Batman. Michael Arden as Derek Frost. Other roles for Michael Arden include Patrick in the TV show Anger Management, Doug Wirt in The Odd Life of Timothy Green, and Elliot in So Be It. Russell Peters as Max Denoff. Other roles for Russell Peters include Rock the Indian Rhinoceros in 2016's The Jungle Book, Malik in 2021's Clifford the Big Red Dog, and Stillerman in The Clapper. Frederick de Grandpré as Sean Fentress. The only other role for Frederick de Grandpré has had is Matthew Brayton in Red Rooms. Kaz Anvar as Hazmi. Other roles for Kaz Anvar include Dr. Fadi in The Vatican Tapes, Alex Kamal in the TV show The Expanse, and Dalton in the Halo 4 video game. Scott Bakula as Donald Stevens, Colton's father. Other roles for Scott Bakula include Kevin in Enter the Dangerous Mind, Bob Black in Behind the Candelabra, and Dwayne Pride in the TV show NCIS. When I remembered about this movie, I remember going to see it with my buddy Dalton in theaters. I don't even really remember why we picked this, but I remember coming out of it fairly confused, and I'm pretty sure he was too. If he happens to see this, maybe he'll comment down below and tell me if he was confused on the first watching, as confused as I was or not. Before I rewatching this film for this review, my memory of it was that it had an opening with lots of wild camera angles. It turns out I was over exaggerating just a little bit. I love that the opening credits follow the train every few scenes. Now, I really do like the fact that we're first introduced to Coulter already on the train and taking on the identity of Sean. And the fact that he's identified about or confused about everything, honestly, was a really great way to start the film. Rutledge came across as sympathetic at first, but then he got under my skin when he was having Goodwin keep things close to the chest when telling Stevens about the goings on. Jake Gyllenhaal seemed like he enjoyed his role in this movie, plus he had great chemistry with everyone involved. Michael Arden was great as the bomber. If I hadn't seen this before, I don't think I would have picked up on the fact that he was the bomber until Stevens did. When Stevens goes back and starts calling out everything that happens, I got a chuckle out of it because of the way Michelle Monaghan reacts. Her facial expressions were absolutely bold. It's a movie that really doesn't overstay its welcome, coming in at just a bit over an hour and a half, but it really doesn't feel that long. Honestly, I feel like if you enjoy dramas with some thrills and action, Source Code is the movie for you. Now let's look at some fun facts and trivia about this movie. Jake Gyllenhaal had an earbud in during the train sequences, into which the director would start playing music at any point in time to help Jake Gyllenhaal's character look disoriented. The director played random songs as well as static buzz at times. The only thing in the back of the white van that is real is the Stars and Stripes box. The rest were made by visual effects or VFX. Because he effectively does not share any scenes with Vera Farmiga and Jeffrey Wright, Jake Gyllenhaal deliberately stayed on after filming his scenes to provide voice work that his fellow actors could bounce off of. Jake Gyllenhaal was on board the production before Duncan Jones. After seeing Moon, Gyllenhaal suggested Jones as a possible director. Russell Peters did about an hour of stand-up with his own material for his scene. Because the majority of his jokes were full of adult themes and graphic language, most of them were cut because of the PG-13 rating. Vera Farmiga stated that she took the role just at the start of her pregnancy in February 2010. Knowing that she would be unavailable for the next 10 months, her scenes were shot in 10 days. Lindsay Lohan was originally cast for the role of Christina. However, producers decided to recast the role when her legal issues conflicted with the filming schedule. Michelle Monaghan was eventually selected as her replacement. The unit Coulter is a part of, the 17th Airborne, was a World War II airborne division. Their motto was Thunder from Heaven. Composer Chris Bacon started working on the film the day after his wife gave birth. Early drafts of the screenplay were set in New York City and not Chicago. And that wraps up our deep dive into Source Code. What did you think of the film's twists and turns? Did it leave you questioning reality as much as it did for me? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this film review. And make sure to subscribe to Movies on the Brain for more spoiler-filled reviews and more insights. And also click the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and remember, the next time you step onto a train, you just might find yourself in a whole new world. This is Jason, signing off.